Hi, my name's Jon and I'm an alcoholic. I found that one of the toughest things to deal with in AA is when somebody close to you or a friend of yours in the program relapses after a period of time. For me, I found that that can be a little jarring. The reason why it's jarring is it's so unexpected. At least it was for me early on. And what happens is, if you're like me, you form a bond or a relationship with someone who may have come in around the same time as you, or somebody you just kind of hit it off with in your meeting, and you kind of hang out, or when they share, you really relate. And it could be somebody you're kind of going through the program with. You may have the same sponsor, but what happens is, like for me, I've been through this where you really root for the person and you take an interest in their sobriety. So when a person like that goes out, it can really sting. At least I felt that way. And the reason why, especially early on, is because I didn't see it coming. I didn't know. I thought that the person was feeling just the way they projected themselves. A lot of times people come in, they have a lot of energy and enthusiasm for AA, and they really want to get clean and sober. And, I would gravitate toward that a lot early on and almost envy the feeling that that person had, because I didn't quite have that. I was still resisting. I was unsure whether I really wanted to quit drinking for the rest of my life. Certainly didn't want to do the work. And I felt, there was a little part of me that felt like I can't continue this, just going to these meetings, talking every now and then. So having a person I could really relate to, or people I could really relate to, and make, AA something I enjoy. I can be around people I know. There's a couple people there I really like to see. And so you go to your meeting, at least I would go to my meeting and I would see those people and it would make me feel comfortable. And the thing is, what's projected a lot, I found in AA, is not always what's going on the inside. And there's nothing worse than, having somebody not show up at a meeting for a couple of days, and you're like, what's going on? You reach out with the text, no response, and you start to worry for them, and then you find out they're out there, they're active again. It can be unsettling. At least I found it in my experience to be unsettling and a little disappointing. Not disappointed that they went out. I feel for them in such a way. Over time, maybe I haven't gotten quite as close, but I do invest emotionally sometimes in people that are in the meeting, though I may not go up and interact with them or be buddy-buddy with them. I'll listen and I'll track them. I'll see how they're doing, and I'll pay attention and I'll look and listen for these changes. And I like it. It kind of excites me to see somebody suddenly think differently about their life and their situations, or think differently in how they view or analyze situations. And so I'll invest somewhat emotionally in that person. And then I'm going, yeah, this is good. This is the stuff you want to hear. Great. You're thinking about the other person in the situation. And I'm like, good, they're really on track here. And they get a sponsor, and there's some enthusiasm for the book. And then bang, out they go. I'm like, God damn it. I find that I would think that these occurrences, they're not as shocking as they used to be, but they do kind of like sting in a sense where you really feel for the person. And you hope that they don't get too far away or too disconnected from the program. So when I can, if I have a little interaction with them, if I have a number with them, I just reach out. How you doing? What's going on? You all right over there? Without having to harp on the fact that they're not in the program. I don't say, hey, any better out there? Nothing like that, man, because I know it's going to be worse for them out there, and it's going to be tough to come back. And, I've seen people where they won't come back because they don't want to put their hand up. And they'll try and last 30 days, so they come back, they don't have to put their hand up. That's tough. And, so I think it's my job to be supportive, to keep the doors of AA open and extended to those that may not be here at the moment, almost kind of wish they were here, but ego, shame might keep them from coming in right away. So if I can just lay down the welcome mat, make it a little easier for that person, understand that this could be me at some point. This could be me. And if it's me, how am I going to feel out there on the outside looking in, wishing I sold my time, wishing I didn't leave, wishing I could go back and not be the focus of attention, not have people asking me all these questions. What happened? What are you going to do differently this time? You know, so I try to think, what's it like for them to be out there under these conditions? And how would I feel if I were them? And what might be the easiest way to make it so they can come back comfortably and make a re-entry back into the program? There's a common expression in the room, we don't shoot our wounded, but yeah, true. But I think a lot of times they're already wounded. And it's tough, I would think, to come back, to route back in the room, put your hand up and say, I'm new again. But it's such a big step to do that, to break the ice, just say, fuck it, just come back and look at what happened. What happened last time I was here? What happened? And then maybe make some adjustments, maybe do things a little differently than last time. Look to see, what was going on? What were the warnings that led me out? Was there anything going on? Was I holding anything back? These are things I think of now in sobriety. What could I do differently? How could I improve? Under these conditions, where does this decision probably lead me? This is step one, okay? Where is this leading me? So I think it's important to always try and watch in sobriety where I might be drifting or veering away, so that I can avoid putting myself in this situation where I don't want to be here and I'd rather be doing something else than being here. And then suddenly I had this disdain for AA because I feel uncomfortable sitting there. So I feel for people that are certainly recently out or recently coming back, because I know they're fragile. I just try and make for a soft landing or an easy re-entry back in. Because, if you're like me, these people are a part of your everyday life. They're part of the meeting. And when they're gone, the meeting's now a little different. And so if you're out there watching videos on YouTube, thinking about making a re-entry back into the program, screw it. Get up, reach out, and meet one of your buddies from when you were here in the program. Meet them at a meeting. We'll wait for you to come back. Anyway, have a good rest of your day.